the main stage spotlights of ITV in North London during mid-2018 bore silent witness to a massive anomaly in the modern entertainment industry, when a 14-year-old teenager from Wigan named Lucy Thomas stepped forward without complex choreography or a flashy costume to catch the audience's eye. In entertainment industry journalism, the first audition moment in a dramatic television talent search like The Voice Kids United Kingdom is often analyzed as a visual commodity that relies heavily on a contestant's dramatic personal background story to boost television ratings. However, documentary reports from the broadcast control room recorded a radical change in atmosphere when pure vocal determination began to take over the entire room, paralyzing the commercial function of aggressive television editing tactics that usually dominate such shows. Through a performance of a classical song demanding high-level breath control, this Lancashire representative managed to turn all the professional judges' chairs in seconds, using a tonal resonance that surpassed the average technical capacity of singers her age. For media observers and music journalists analyzing the raw footage, this initial performance was not just a typical elimination round, but a strong signal of a new figure carrying a traditional vocal blueprint amidst the onslaught of electronic pop trends dominating the global audio market. The mechanical composure she displayed under national live broadcast pressure provided early confirmation that the industry dynamic was dealing with a talent who refused to bow to visual market standardization. However, a major question immediately arose among media executives. Could this conventional vocal purity survive when the studio lights were turned off and modern industry algorithms began demanding far more ruthless commercial compromises? British broadcasting history records a nearly unchangeable linear pattern, where the majority of talent show alumni are immediately faced with long-term contracts from massive record label conglomerates that prioritize capital profit maximization within the first 12 months. Investigations into the post-competition management ecosystem show that winners and finalists are frequently forced into a mechanical production line where their visual image, fashion style, and even music genre are dictated entirely by corporate marketing teams to meet a volatile teen market. Lucy Thomas stood at the center of this mainstream vortex, where the pressure to shift her musical direction toward electronic dance pop or follow hyperactive short video trends was presented as the most logical option to maintain a position on the digital charts. Behind-the-scenes industry reports indicated a latent tension between the expectations of mainstream promoters wanting an instant, easily saleable formula and the artistic vision of the singer, who insisted on maintaining the integrity of contemporary classical vocals. This subtle refusal of industry standardization triggered heated debates among music analysts regarding the potential loss of a young artist's career momentum if they chose to exit the primary distribution circle controlled by global label oligopolies. The risk of total digital isolation from major platform playlists became the price to pay for any new talent who refused to exploit their personal life for fleeting popularity. Amid growing speculation that her young career would fade due to this refusal to compromise, a highly unorthodox management decision was made behind closed doors, triggering an unexpected shift in the balance of power. The formal decision to decline contracts with mainstream music giants and instead sign with Cavendish Records, a newly established independent label with a specific focus on musical theater and the classical crossover genre, sparked a wave of skepticism from entertainment industry financial analysts. Based on market analysis data gathered during that period, the classical crossover genre was often categorized as a dead zone for teenage artist investments because of its slow capital turnover cycle and a traditional audience base hesitant to transition to modern digital platforms. Music critics initially projected that this independent path would limit Lucy Thomas's marketing reach to local theater communities in the north of England, cutting her off from the global distribution networks only possessed by media conglomerates. The independent label faced massive logistical challenges, ranging from limited national radio promotion budgets to the absence of a strong physical distribution network outside the United Kingdom. However, operational documentation shows that Cavendish Records chose a strategy relying strictly on pure audio production quality within the vessel recording studio, ignoring conventional marketing tactics that prioritize massive paid advertising campaigns on social media. They invested all available resources into creating rich, precise orchestral arrangements, placing Lucy's vocal character as the primary instrument undistorted by digital manipulation. This financial and operational strain placed their debut album project on a crucial gamble. Could a music product relying purely on organic vocal quality break through the thick walls of digital algorithms designed for sensational visual content? The launch of the debut studio album titled Premiere became the first true test where this entire independent management ecosystem was evaluated under market conditions highly hostile to non-mainstream content. Without the support of rotation slots on major commercial radio stations like BBC Radio 1 or digital billboard campaigns in central London, initial sales figures depended entirely on organic conversion from loyal viewers who remembered her television performance. Digital metric reports showed a very slow trajectory during the opening weeks, sparking internal fears that this strategy of isolation from the mainstream industry would end as a fatal commercial failure for the young artist's future. Management firmly refused to use click manipulation tactics or trigger manufactured controversies in the mass media to grab public attention, a decision considered high risk in the modern era. Instead, they implemented a highly consistent strategy of periodically releasing studio-quality live performance videos on YouTube, a move requiring great capital endurance and patience since the desired results could not happen overnight. Each video was designed with a minimalist visual aesthetic, focusing the camera entirely on Lucy's micro-expressions and breathing techniques as she performed complex musical theater repertoires. Just as daily view metrics began showing worrying signs of stagnation, a sudden global data distribution anomaly occurred, completely overturning the pessimistic projections of industry analysts overnight. An undeniable breakthrough occurred when Lucy Thomas's reinterpretation of Leonard Cohen's legendary song, Hallelujah, was uploaded to digital networks without any paid promotional engineering from the label. Cyber traffic tracking data confirmed a surge in views originating from organic user recommendation mechanisms globally, crossing geographical boundaries from Southeast Asia to North America at a speed never before experienced by any independent label in the UK. The video amassed tens of millions of pure views, an achievement that triggered confusion among digital marketing strategists who had long believed that high retention could only be achieved through short-form content with rapid visual editing. This phenomenon proved a new thesis in modern media journalism, that there is a massive global market niche that feels alienated by modern pop music and deeply longs for traditional vocal accuracy and unmanipulated emotional depth. Her digital channel's growth surged past the 1 million subscriber mark organically, an achievement that placed Lucy Thomas's bargaining power on par with artists backed by millions of dollars in major label funding. This international success triggered a wave of song licensing and physical distribution requests from various parts of the world, forcing Cavendish Records' supply chain to undergo a sudden operational restructuring to meet global market demand. This massive digital success immediately triggered a much tougher new challenge: how to prove to conventional theater critics that a popularity of millions of clicks in cyberspace could be transformed into the reality of a physical performance on the most demanding theater stage in the world. Entering the production phase of the album's Timeless and Destiny, technical reports from the recording studio showed significant mechanical evolution in Lucy Thomas's vocal structure, transitioning from a talented teenager into a professional vocalist with highly mature technical control. Acoustic analysis of her recordings demonstrated an increased resonance volume in the middle register, as well as highly stable vibrato control, allowing her to execute high-note transitions without showing symptoms of laryngeal muscle strain. This technical advancement went hand in hand with a management strategy that refused to exploit the fan base through cheap merchandise sales or aggressive digital monetization schemes. Instead, the relationship with the audience was built on creative process transparency through community platforms like Patreon, where fanatical supporters were granted exclusive access to listen to arrangement blueprints before they were officially released to the public. This community journalism approach successfully created a high-level consumer loyalty ecosystem, where the conversion rate for physical album sales in CD and vinyl formats reached an extraordinary percentage compared to current industry averages. In an era where music consumption has shifted to cheap digital rental systems, the ability of an independent artist to move thousands of people to purchase physical products became a highly compelling economic anomaly, drawing the attention of creative industry researchers. However, just as financial stability and digital popularity were securely within her grasp, an ambitious offer from the London West End theatre ecosystem arrived to test the limits of the artist's adaptability outside the comfort zone of her recording studio. The world of musical theatre in London's West End is known for its highly stringent evaluation standards and often views talent that gained fame through social media platforms or television competitions with cynicism. When Lucy Thomas was announced to be involved in a large-scale theater staging project, performing arts critics immediately placed her under a sharp analytical microscope, doubting the singer's ability to project her voice consistently without the aid of studio microphones inside historic venues featuring mechanical acoustic challenges. Live performance demands total physical endurance, where a performer must be able to sing while executing dynamic stage movements for several hours, a condition vastly different from the isolation of a condenser microphone in a sterile recording room. The intense rehearsal schedule at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane tested the limits of Lucy's vocal cords and mental stamina under the gaze of veteran directors who demanded perfect acting precision and vocal articulation in every scene. Reports from the theater community indicated that any minor failure in the stage adaptation would become ammunition for conventional media to tear down the independent reputation built with hard work over many years. Tension reached its peak on the first media review night, where Cavendish Records executives and industry observers gathered to witness whether their long-term investment would shatter at the hands of London critics. Contrary to the expectations of all who doubted her, the total silence that filled the auditorium as the final note echoed became the initial sign of a highly dramatic dismantling of industry stigma. Conquering West End skepticism did not leave Lucy Thomas's management trapped in the comfort zone of an interpretive singer who only covered already popular classic works. The next strategic move was to make a heavy investment in creating a brand new intellectual property through an ambitious project titled Rosie the Musical, an original piece that demanded Lucy not only perform as the lead vocalist, but also serve as the driving axis of the emotional narrative from start to finish. Production reports from the Adelphi Theatre noted that this move was viewed as a high-risk financial gamble, considering the London theatre market is highly competitive and rarely gives space to new original musicals not backed by a major movie franchise or a legendary global composer's name. However, the seamless integration between the song lyrics written specifically for the character of Rosie and the development of Lucy's vocal maturity yielded a performance deemed by art journalists as one of the freshest independent theater breakthroughs of the decade. The soundtrack album from the musical immediately grabbed the top spot on the iTunes musical theater charts in multiple countries, proving that her fan base did not just love Lucy's voice, but had transformed into supporters of whatever artistic narrative she chose to deliver. This success expanded Cavendish Records' business portfolio, shifting their position from a local record label to a theater production entity with high bargaining power on the international stage. This multidimensional achievement brought Lucy's career to an absolute peak, where the operational formula she utilized began to be deconstructed by music academics as an ideal model for the future of the independent industry. As the timeline moves through 2026, an in-depth analysis of the Lucy Thomas phenomenon reveals a thesis that highly contradicts the mainstream digital marketing laws currently in effect. In an era where a celebrity's popularity is frequently triggered and maintained through cycles of personal drama, manufactured romantic relationships, or shocking visual tactics on social media, Lucy built her empire on a foundation of strict privacy and the restriction of personal information from public consumption. Investigative journalism within the entertainment media found no scandal or exploitation of personal life that could be utilized as clickbait news, a fact proving that all the public attention she received was rooted purely in the fundamental quality of her art. The business model she operates alongside her management demonstrates that long-term career sustainability in the creative industry does not require reliance on major agencies or conventional radio distribution, but rather on the ability to maintain audience trust consistently through high-quality product execution. This success in preserving artistic autonomy provides a new inspiration for the generation of young content creators and musicians worldwide, that the independent track is no longer an inferior alternative choice, but a primary route that is far healthier for safeguarding an artist's mental health and artistic integrity. With her business foundation and reputation deeply rooted in British soil, the industry's eyes are now fixed on the next global expansion that will test the independent legend's reach across continental Europe. The long journey that began on a local television stage in London has now reached its phase of full maturity, positioning the name of Lucy Thomas within the elite ranks of female vocalists, possessing the cleanest cultural influence of her generation. Official reports regarding her itinerary for the remainder of 2026 confirm preparations for a European concert tour covering major cities such as Geneva in Switzerland and Annecy in France. A physical expansion move designed to satisfy the demand of thousands of international fans who previously could only access her voice through digital media. The vocal consistency she has demonstrated from her first album to her newest releases serves as living proof that true success in the music industry does not always crown whoever screams the loudest on social media or whoever commands the largest marketing budget, but rather the one whose work manages to touch the deepest emotional aspects of the listener's humanity. From a Wigan teenager standing nervously beneath the Talent Search studio spotlights, she has transformed herself into a living blueprint for a legendary global independent music existence. Her journey's narrative will continue to be written across the world's theater stages, serving as an everlasting reminder to the modern entertainment industry that true quality will always find its own path to shine amid the darkness of instant sensation. And as the international stage curtains prepare to open for this year's tour, the world stands ready to witness the newest chapter of a vocal phenomenon that refuses to fade with time.